Right here, this man's camper was turned completely over. And this family over here had large chunks of their roof torn off and thrown straight into the wind. Beautiful, giant snowflakes have been dropping out of the sky and blanketing our West Texas area out in Ector County with snow. We did see several officers going into the building. They all were armed with assault weapons that were searching this building and the vehicle right in front of this house. An Odessa woman accused of forcing an 8-year-old girl to jump on a trampoline in more than triple-digit heat until she died is now out of jail. Try something that's a little bit sweet and lets you enjoy your life a little bit more, because honestly, 1 donut or maybe 3 donuts or 4 donuts is not the end of the world.
Right, and it seems like a silly day.
I just had dinner here, and I was going to have a sandwich in the live shot, but honestly, I was so hungry I couldn't even stop myself, so I went ahead and just ate it. But no worries, because it went down for a good cause. To mask or not to mask? That's the question Texas businesses are asking themselves this week. Now, I know this may look kind of scary, rappelling all the way down the side of a building, and to be honest, yeah, it actually kind of is. But it's also a pretty awesome bucket list item to check off. While I've got you on air, couldn't miss this opportunity. I did want to see if you could play something a little bit for us, just to give people a little preview of what they might be able to expect if they want to come to the concert.
I would love to. As it happens, I have a trumpet right here.
What a coincidence.
That's amazing.
Wow. Well, that was great. Well, bravo. I gotta say, everyone in the newsroom is loving this. I can hear everyone clapping even in the studio behind me. Now, in total, 38% of West Texans have gotten 1 dose of their vaccine, and 31% have gotten both doses. There's just one problem. The roads up until this point are public, so therefore they're paved. But one step this way, and you'll only find private roads outside the county's jurisdiction, and therefore left to collect dust. And police are saying all of this was due to a case of road rage. They had responded to a disturbance call here sometime after midnight when they say they were attacked. Many people feel powerless when they have these addiction issues, so what would you want to say to someone directly right now who's listening to this, who maybe feels powerless in their own situation with addiction? Last night we got a ton of rain. As a matter of fact, it almost turned my car into a submarine. Is this going to be happening later on this afternoon? Well, over here in Montahan's, it's been snowing and freezing like so many other places, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's been miserable here. As a matter of fact, a stroke of luck has kept most of these houses lit and warm, while the rest of the state has gone dark.
Probably around 96% of the population of the city of Montahan's had no problems whatsoever.
That's right. While major cities from Houston to Dallas, as well as many here in West Texas, shivered in the dark, little Montahan's has been sitting pretty.
To see them kind of ahead and keeping the power on for the most part, it's been kind of surprising, to be honest.
It surprised me too. So I asked Mayor David Cutbirth, how did this tiny town keep chugging along during a statewide power crisis?
And we would love to take credit for that, but we're at the right place at the right time.
It turns out Montahan's power grid is tied to a major West Texas power plant. Because ERCOT can't afford to let that plant stop churning power, Lucky Montahan's has been skipped during all of the rolling blackouts.
I know it's hard to say it's not fair, but it's not, and it's not right.
It's bittersweet for Aaron Hufty, who's been watching other Texans freeze on TV, wishing they could stay warm too.
If I could give up a couple hours of electricity so others can have it, I'd do it in a heartbeat, but I can't control that, and I wish I could.
The mayor said when the storm clears, he really hopes that the state takes a hard look at themselves and then learns to invest in infrastructure so that everyone else doesn't have to rely on luck the way that his city did. Reporting in Montahan's, Shane Battis, CBS 7 News. When Andrews residents woke up this morning, their neighborhood looked pretty different. Right here, this man's camper was turned completely over. And this family over here had large chunks of their roof torn off and thrown straight into the wind. Residents described their night taking shelter from extreme wind, rain, and hail.
It sounded like a roar, you know, like really scary roar.
It was raining so hard and it's hailing, the wind's probably blowing 70 miles an hour, you couldn't see anything. Nothing.
When they could see again, it wasn't a pretty sight. Downed power lines, overturned trailers, and pieces of homes strewn all about the neighborhood. And Rendon says chunks of her roof were torn away and scattered across the yard, if they even came down at all. She says it was the most frightening storm she's seen for as long as she's lived in Andrews.
My grandkids were all scared. All they kept telling me was like, let's just leave. And we were like, well, we have to wait, you know, everything's gonna be okay.
And she wasn't the only one with reason to feel a little on edge. This massive oil tanker rolled all the way from an oil field lot right into this family's backyard, stopping just feet away from the door. The company's crews say it'll have to stay there until the winds die down. This family caught a lucky break, but many others didn't.
We came by and we checked it out, and it's pretty messed up.
That's an understatement. Marco Saenz walked us around his house, showing us where his carport used to be after the storm sent pieces of their home flying, leaving the rest in shambles without even gas or electricity.
So without electricity, House is just a house, useless.
It only took a few hours for the storm to sweep through Andrews, but it'll take weeks for the damage to be undone.
But it's so quick. I mean, it goes through and does its damage, and then it's over.
Now, we've gotten a lot of questions throughout the day about whether last night's storm was a tornado, but this has not been confirmed yet by the National Weather Service. However, it's clear that it was a very powerful storm with winds going up to 65 miles an hour. Reporting live in Andrews, Shane Battis, CBS 7 News.
Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us at 4.
We're going to start this afternoon updating you on a story that you saw first here on CBS 7. 2.5 months after being shot twice during a burglary, one Odessa man is still struggling to recover, both physically and financially. Frankie Lujan was one of the 2 people who was shot in the early hours of February 24th. Lujan was shot in the stomach and leg. That leg injury has caused lingering nerve damage, and Lujan still requires a walker and attends physical therapy, meaning he hasn't been able to return to work at his barbershop, putting his future in jeopardy. He's holding a fundraiser this weekend at his barbershop. King cuts in Odessa to help raise funds to cover his medical costs. Now, to this point, he has applied for but not received any financial aid from local or state victim funds. And speaking of vaccines, we've gotten updated vaccination rates across the Permian Basin. Now, looking at these numbers, we've seen that the numbers have plateaued after a couple of weeks here. Now, let's take a look at how they break down through each of the counties. Now, we start in Ector County, where you can see 38% of people have gotten their first dose of the vaccine, and 32% are fully vaccinated. Now, just slightly higher numbers in Midland County, with 40% being halfway through the vaccine process, and 33% have gotten both doses. Andrews County continues to tick upwards, where 44% of people have gotten their first shot, and 38% of people are fully vaccinated. However, there are some lower numbers in Howard County, with 26% of people halfway through the process, and only 22% who have gotten both shots. Now, let's take a look at the Permian Basin as a whole. You can see 40% of people have gotten their first dose, and 33% of people are fully vaccinated. Now, if you'd like to see vaccination rates in your county, that information is easy to find. It's right at your fingertips. All you have to do is go to CBS7.com or download the CBS 7 News app and click on the vaccine tracker. It's now time to talk weather. It was a nice, beautiful, sunny day, but I hope you guys got to enjoy it because it's not going to last for much longer. And the Tiger King star Carol Baskin is offering a reward for finding a tiger that went missing in Houston. I'm sure you've all seen this video of a tiger rolling around in Houston. An attorney for the man last seen with this animal says it's a 9-month-old male Bengal tiger named India. Officials don't think he's roaming the streets, but they do want to figure out who is with him. Baskin is the founder and CEO of the Big Cat Rescue. She posted this video on Instagram. That tiger was last spotted in front of a Houston home on Sunday. Victor Hugo Cuevas allegedly put the cat into an SUV and then drove away. An attorney for Cuevas says India does not belong to his client. And speaking of the Capitol riots, a U.S. Marine is the first active duty officer to be charged in the January 6th incident. Major Christopher Warnegaris is accused of assaulting multiple police officers both inside and outside the Capitol. He was arrested in Virginia and charged with multiple crimes, including obstruction of justice. He made an initial appearance in federal court on Thursday. So far, he has not entered a plea and is not being detained. And also on the riots, a federal judge has ordered a man accused of breaking into the Capitol during the January insurrection to be arrested. That decision came after he was shown that Patrick Montgomery shot a mountain lion and a bobcat on a recent hunting trip. Now, Montgomery was convicted of robbery back in 1996, and prosecutors say that as a convicted felon, he is not allowed to have guns. The judge said the jailing is mandatory, and he ordered him to report to jail on Monday.